Hi, welcome to the Village of Buchanan, November 26, 2024 workshop meeting. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All righty, thank you. So on the workshop discussions tonight, it's we're discussing a possible grant writer to apply for a federal fire department grant. And I know Bob was not able to be on Zoom tonight, but Trustee Capicati is on Zoom. Marcus had a conversation with Trustee Wheeler. So Marcus, if you could update us with what's going on with that.
Sure. The discussion I had was Bob Ihouse, the fire chief. He's the one who said we couldn't make it. It's Bob Ihouse. So Bob Ihouse asked me to update the board in regards to what they're looking to do. They want to apply for a FEMA grant for the fire department. Originally, they were looking at replacing their air tank pump truck, which they fill up all the air tanks. After the fire chief had some discussion with their grant writer, they say you have very little chance of getting that due to the size of your community and that you received 2 new trucks recently. So they said the chance of that is going to be very slim. So now they want the board to consider is radios, because right now they, through the county, only have 1 radio when they when they change their frequency system. Radios and some turnout gear. He said, I'm sorry he couldn't make it tonight, but he wants to have the board maybe keep it open, allow him to speak at the next meeting, and then the board can make a decision at the December 3rd meeting. But the deadline, I think, is December 15th or 18th, so in the middle part of December. So he just asked for the board to keep that in consideration. I did find 2 grant writers. They have 1. They said the one they have actually has a lot of experience running these type of grants. So he wants to have that discussion with the board at the next meeting. So again, he apologized for not being able to make it tonight, and then he'll talk to the board, and he'll have more detailed information regards to the amount of turnout gear, the cost of turnout gear, and he'll have a chance to come to the next meeting. So that's the update on that.
So now they're not looking to do the grant for the vehicles?
Correct. Correct.
That was going to be what? The estimate you got was 450 to 475 for that, so.
That's
we
correct.
really need a grant.
Correct.
Yeah.
And Karen's, they said they have some electrical issues. Bob Wheeler's online, but Bob can give you that information.
I'm sorry, Bob. I had said that you weren't on the line. I confused the Bobs.
Yeah.
It was Bob Outhouse, the chief of the firehouse.
So they've had some issues with that truck. So Bob, maybe you want to explain, that we're trying to repair some electrical issues and so on and so forth, Bob?
Yes, we've had some electrical issues with this compressor for a few years now. We're trying to correct them. We've been seeing different vendors over that. So right now we're at the position now with the truck itself's in good shape. It's the compressor that's the issue. So I know that they're looking to see if they can get this corrected. And that's all I really have to report on that.
Are there any estimates on what a compressor repair would be?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know if we went that way yet to look and see. We're trying to correct what we have going now. The compressor is 20 years old, so finding a vendor to work on it's pretty difficult right now.
And getting the parts too, I'm sure.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks, Bob. Okay, so we'll expect the chief to be in at the next meeting to discuss that, and I'm sure he'll have the information needed.
Well, I have a few questions
Sure.
on this. I don't know. Trace, you're a liaison to the
Yes, sir.
fire department, right? So
Mhm.
when did we find out about this? I mean, we've just
This is
spent,
just new.
I mean, we've just spent a lot of money, okay, in supplying them with 2 pumpers and a chief's car.
Mhm.
So I don't know what your thoughts are. I'd like to hear. And I'd like to hear what, Bobby's more involved over there.
Yeah,
I mean,
Bob could probably
This is
give
coming
it.
out of left field for me.
Well, me too. I did.
And
not
I've
know.
got some questions.
Okay. I did not know about the pumper. This was new when it came out on email, the request. So that was very new for me. Bob, how long has this been an issue? You said that there was a problem with the pumper for a while now because of the compressor and different things. But it was about getting the grant.
We're talking about the air truck, not the pumper, correct?
No, I'm sorry, the air truck, yes.
Yeah, well, we thought we had the compressor fixed about 2 years ago, and we're having the same issue arise again. So that's our issues. Is our vendor we're not real thrilled with, to be honest with you. And we're trying to reach out to other vendors. So we're trying to just get the compressor up and running. So I know that Karen and Bobby have been researching other vendors.
So right now it's not operational at all?
Not the way it should operate. Let's put it that way. It usually will operate continuously with no other issues going on, but now we just have to fill our bottles up, and when they get depleted, we have to stop our operations.
Okay, because I know the truck goes out around other communities too, with mutual aid to help other fire departments. All right.
Yes,
Well,
it does.
Something, we need to have a discussion, further discussion on that.
Oh, I would say we have to have a very deep discussion on it.
Yes, oh, absolutely.
I mean, I'm looking at these numbers as to what we spent over the course of the last 4 years, and it's a big number.
It's over $2 million.
And quite honestly, I can't consciously sit here and justify a new, whatever. What's it do, Bob? It replenishes the oxygen tanks.
Yes, and any fire scene,
Okay.
for ourselves in mutual aid, that's a primary component to fighting the fire, is continually being able to fill up these air bottles for the other companies or ourselves.
And how do we get from a compressor not working to a whole new truck?
That I honestly can't tell you. I would only kind of figure that it's because the truck's 20-something years old. And I believe that's why they are changing their thought, because the truck itself, I believe, is running pretty well. And it's really the compressor that's the issue.
You understand my points, right?
Oh, I understand your points.
So I wish the chief could have been here to explain a little bit, more in depth as to how we go from a compressor issue to requiring a whole brand new truck after we've just bought two
Yeah.
trucks in a matter of
No.
4 years and a chief's truck on top of it.
Mhm. So I'm just so everyone understands, I'm not looking to bonding 475,000. If they could get it and get the grant, and we only had a 5% match, that's a discussion that the board could have, because then you're not looking at, a crazy amount of money. But to bond something else, I'm not a big bond person, and to bond something else.
I have concerns
Okay,
in
yeah.
trying to justify that kind of a number
Mhm.
to our taxpayers, okay, after we've just, invested a lot of money into the department, okay?
Agreed.
That's my feelings. I don't know how anybody else feels.
Mhm.
That's my feelings.
I have a few things to say.
Okay, Anthony?
Hi, everybody. I'm sorry I'm not there. I'm very sick. Not very sick, just sick. My kids got me sick again.
Cap, I had it last week.
So I didn't want to come in there and put it upon everybody. I'm sorry I'm not there. Yeah, so I had this is all new information to me about this truck. And if this truck is part of a mutual aid situation, this truck should be cleared first if it doesn't do 100% of what it's supposed to do. It's his life or death we're talking about. So if this is where this truck is at, and it's been going on for 2 years, I don't understand why we're hearing about it now. And if the compressor is failing at any percent when it comes to life or death, this truck should be taken out of service immediately. That's it.
Okay, thanks. Bob, is there another way? Does the firehouse, is there any equipment inside the firehouse that can refill those bottles? Or it's just, because I know you've been on different, the firehouse has been throughout different areas, as backup for a lot of different communities with filling up the air tanks. But does the firehouse, the Buchanan Firehouse itself, have a way to fill those tanks up at the firehouse? Is there equipment there for you guys?
No, there isn't. That's the truck that we use, and that's the truck we bring to our mutual aid. We keep it going. It's not totally failing. I understand what Anthony is saying, but I don't think it's at the point where we have to take it out of service. That's something you would really have to discuss further with the chief also.
Yeah, well,
also
you said, Bob,
requested-
you said when the bottles run out, you have no way to replenish them. I mean, that's not
Right.
operating at 100%.
Right, but we can fill up quite a few bottles at the scene, so it's better than nothing, because we're basically the only game in town that delivers air to bottles.
So,
Yeah, I
so
know, but
why,
it should be fixed. It should have been fixed a
Oh.
long time ago.
We've been working on it, and we've been having some issues with some vendors, that's why we're still out there. You know, I know that Kieran and Bobby are talking to other vendors right now to try to get this, problem resolved.
But this,
But-
we went into fixing a pump on a pumper last year. This sounds like it should have been fixed before that pump was fixed.
Oh, it was, like I said, it was fixed once, and then the same problem arose again. That's why we're looking at other vendors. Like I said, this is something you'll have to discuss further with the chief, because
Well,
he
I'd
has
love
more
to.
information. Well, we'll have to have him come to the next meeting and discuss that with, because they're the ones that are gonna probably explain it a little bit better than I can.
Yeah, no, we need to talk to the chief about this. I agree. I feel that this should have been a priority over the pump because we had the pump fixed. And then we went and bought a new truck, but the pump was still good. So this would have been a priority in front of us buying a new truck altogether. This fast track truck that we purchased. You know, so this seems like it should have been a priority.
Mayor,
You know, I don't know what's going on here. We're just going to come here like this $450,000 truck. This meeting is the first time I'm hearing anything about it.
me as well.
What was the email?
That was the email.
The email from the chief.
As
that-
soon as I heard about it, I sent an email to
Yeah.
everybody, yes. Bob, if we're the only ones that have this truck, does anybody else have a truck to bring in to fill up the air tanks in the area?
Not to my knowledge, especially for the Tri-Village area and Peekskill and Ossining and things like that.
Could we,
Interesting.
since it's mutual aid, could we, I don't know who would own it, but couldn't, since it's used not only for Tri-Village, and I know you guys have been to other places, the fire department, is there any way that each department could contribute something and make it a true mutual aid? But then again, I don't know who would take ownership of it, you know, I'm not sure. So the federal grants are out. We'll talk with the chief. I don't know about state grants. I don't know if we, you know, Senator Harkam and Levenberg, if they have anything.
Well, I have some questions. I mean,
Okay.
as a small community, okay, why are we the ones that provide the mutual aid truck of this nature, okay, for communities that are much larger than us? And we're asking our taxpayers to foot the bill. I have a lot of questions.
Well, I'm not looking to
Well, just
spend
to-
50,000. I'll put that out there.
I could just give you a little brief history on that. Back in the day, way before I was a member there, a number of members, way back, took a 1955 truck and converted it into a air truck. So that was the first of its kind in the area. As a matter of fact, it's in the museum upstate for that purpose. Well, since then, Buchanan has become the company that they relied on for that. And then when the time came when we had to retire that truck in 2004, I believe it was, that's when we purchased the one we have now. So that's the reason why we're doing that. I mean, it's the same reason why we don't have a ladder truck is because we rely on other departments to help us with their ladder truck. So it seems it's kind of everyone puts their best efforts forth to help each other out.
All right, so I think it's best to continue this discussion when we have the fire chief
I
here.
agree,
I agree also.
And,
but it's a start.
and for the board, I just want to just clarify, it was my mistake. I thought 5%. And need to go with 20, and, oh, we're fine. 5%, anything less than 20,000. So we're still winning 5%, which is the lowest match that we have to match. So you're absolutely right. So any amount that the fire department put in, besides the grant writer, we have to put 5% into whatever if the grant is awarded. So I just want to make sure everybody understands that. Okay?
All right, so let's see. Discussion on 3151 Albany Post Road.
Yes, there's been a discussion in the past. There's the house on Albany Post Road next to the firehouse. It's been in the state of disrepair for some time. The property owner passed away some time ago, and I guess the nephew or the nephew, son,
Yeah.
nephew, son, who lives upstate New York, has said that it was in probate, trying to take the ownership of the property. So the building department's been trying to work with them for some time. They have overgrown weeds, trees, the weeds growing over the power lines. So the building department finally got him to hire a landscaper to cut everything back, but it's been going in reversal again. It's overgrown again. Winter is coming, which is fine, but it's still overgrown. There's garbage in the back. So talked to the building department. So what he did was notify him again. They're issuing violations now, and under the code, violation issue will be a court proceeding. But also, we talked about coming to the village board to get authority to hire a contractor to go clean up the property, take out all the garbage, and whatever the cost of that cost will be passed back down to the property owner. So it's that's the process under the code that we have to do that. That's section 137-5 and 6. So the building department is trying to fine tune their process with the violations. They have to then provide a detailed report to the village board. The village board then has to say there is an issue. And then you got to have another meeting and give the property owner an opportunity to come and appear to the board, state his case. After that process, the board then will have to adopt a resolution, maybe within 10 days or in the next meeting, to actually hire a contract. So it's a process we have to
Yeah.
go through to get through.
We've had that process.
Yeah, I was talking to
before.
Stephanie about
You-
that too.
Yeah, yeah,
Point Street. This
Yes.
is not to that yet, though, right?
no.
It's not-
No, the building's
No.
not fully,
Not dangerous.
Yeah,
It's
right.
just-
Well, are there health concerns there? Is there vermin or are there rats? Are there?
we haven't had any complaints or anything like
Okay.
that, but I think it could lead to that position.
Mhm.
There was somebody living in the house a couple years ago.
Right.
So we boarded it up, so it is still boarded. I had DPW can make sure everything's still boarded. There's nobody snuck into the house yet,
Mhm.
but it is an attractive nuisance. And also you can't see into the property from the road, so.
Yeah,
I'd like to
no,
have the
I drove
property
by it.
Cleaned up.
I do.
So, just want to let you know,
Mm.
probably at December, January meeting, the building department provide a report. We'll give the opportunity to the property to do something. If it doesn't do anything, then we can at least clean it up. My concern is long-term cutting the grass. So it's one time a cleanup, but then the resolution might have to say to hire a landscaper to come every couple of weeks just to cut the grass back. That's a possibility if he doesn't maintain the property.
Well, we did that on Bannon Avenue too, but our highway department would cut it every 2 weeks, I think it was.
Mhm.
And then the fee went on to their tax bill.
Mm-hmm.
So we foot the cost up front and we put it onto the tax bill.
Correct.
So whether it's an outside vendor or if it's our own
Mm-hmm.
highway department.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah. I will suggest hiring a vendor to do it, but then we have a bill. It goes directly, we add it right to the tax bill and stuff like that. And then our manpower not going into somebody's private property to
Mhm.
cut their grass.
Yep.
So just the update. We'll hear more probably at the next meeting.
Okay, we have the deputy treasurer position that the board is looking to fill. The gentleman is here this evening. Hello, Dominic. So we are putting that on for, on the meeting next Tuesday.
Correct.
So that'll be for a resolution on Tuesday?
Yes. And we're planning for him to start on December 4th.
Okay, the next is the job posting for the village administrator. So, we will be reposting again for the village administrator position. And that will be approved at the board meeting next Tuesday. And the next is,
Can we just
Sure.
circle back to that?
oh, sure,
So once we have this discussion on Tuesday, then we can then post the job the following day, correct?
yes, correct. And then what also happens is it should also be posted on the New York State Job Board, because that was part of the application.
Right, which I think Cindy's already has lined up.
Downstairs, yeah. Okay,
And so
Yeah.
what, we're agreeing to post it for how long?
it's up to the board's decision.
What did we post it for last time?
It was
Cindy might
2
know.
weeks.
So I guess we follow the same protocol as the time frame.
Excuse me, the job has to be posted continuously, but
Okay.
I think we should post it for 2 weeks before
Okay.
we approve the waiver.
Okay,
Yeah, that's what, maybe she didn't hear.
Mm-hmm.
thank you,
Yeah.
Cindy.
Welcome.
Yeah, Cindy is not well either, but she's on Zoom and she's in the building. So thank you, Cindy.
Sure.
The next is, I know, Dan, you wanted this on the agenda this evening. We've had discussions before on the parking on Tate Avenue, so I will turn it over to you.
Yeah, it's a concern of mine. I've noticed, listen, my whole life, I've grown up in this village, and parking on Tate Avenue on the street was just, it didn't happen, right? We've got situations now where it's arising more and more frequently, and it's arising in areas that are of concern. Specifically, on the corner of First Street and Tate is what I notice, because when I work remotely and I work from home, I see the situation there. So the other day, I look out the window. It's about approximately 3 o'clock. Now it's where the kids get let off from school. It's a school bus stop. They have a van double parked on the other side of the road going towards Kings Ferry. They've got, that's sticking out. They've also got a car parked on Tate Avenue directly across from the van going towards the circle with a bus coming. And there's people crossing the double yellow as the lights changing. It's just an accident waiting to happen, and I'm concerned about safety. And I think there's got to be something. There's got to be more discussion. There's got to be. I think there should not be any parking on Tate Avenue, and that's especially in that section, if not the entire length of Tate Avenue. It's a
Okay.
main thoroughfare.
Mhm.
There's no passing lanes to be able to cross over to double yellow without some kind of concerns of an accident occurring. That's my opinion.
Okay, so so you're talking the whole length of Tate Avenue?
I mean,
what you're thinking?
Tate Avenue should not be a street where there's parking on the street. It's a main thoroughfare. Westchester Avenue is another one. I'm just pointing out what I see specifically
Yes.
on a day-to-day basis when it's in front of me. But Westchester Avenue, Tate Avenue, there was never parking allowed in the street, on those streets. And I get it, there's no signage. So there's I've spoken to Shane about it. Their hands are kind of tied,
Mhm.
but I think it's an issue that we have to address. We have to look at it and come up with a solution.
Okay.
And I'm not just saying Tate Avenue. I would have my concerns. Westchester, I can't speak for Westchester because I don't see it in front of me. So if people are seeing it in Westchester, I'd love to hear from you. But Tate Avenue, it's an issue.
So before Stephanie, if we decide to change and put no parking, and my big concern is putting up no parking signs.
I know.
All in front of, all down the strip there. But I don't know, if we do decide to do that, would that be a public hearing that
Yep.
we would have to have? I don't know,
On
study.
both sides? Do people park on both sides? I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well,
They do.
the
So you
Tate
talk about no
Avenue,
parking on both sides? Is that the concern?
where Dan is by his house.
It's
that he's
and there's
seeing
a school bus stop. It's right there.
But
right
it's
at
not
the
just
corner.
one side of Tate. It's also, okay, that's what you're talking about? Okay, thanks.
But there's school buses throughout Tate,
Yeah, it's
and there's parking throughout Tate on both sides. And it can get a little bit risky when the buses are stopping, and sometimes you have kids riding their bikes. People are walking up and down, running. It does get a little bit dicey.
I know Nick Zachary, going back to Nick, he had wanted to put like a walking path or a walking lane there,
there's
remember?
just no room.
There's no room.
There's
Yeah.
no room.
There's
So-
no room.
What I'd like is, I think a good idea would be to have the engineer look at that. What's the width of the road? I don't know. Can we move the line over and maybe, one side is parking?
Yeah.
I don't know. Because it makes it difficult for some people when they have company and things like that,
Lindsay Avenue is
Well-
different, right? You've got it on one side, right? So,
Yeah.
and you can see,
and that works.
and you can see the way it's staggered, right?
Mhm.
The yellow line is staggered more towards one side. But Tate Avenue, you don't have that luxury of being able to stagger it, I don't believe. I don't think there's enough room.
But
I mean,
agree-
George can look at it,
I'm
but
sorry. I agree with Teresa in that maybe just one side
Mhm.
can be no parking, because it's true, if you have company, where is your company going? to
yeah,
park?
I'm just concerned, biggest concern is the kids getting on and off the school bus and crossing the street and,
And that-
you know, somebody just not thinking in the moment, right?
No, that's a given, that's a given. But if
So-
parking is just restricted to one side, I think that could be part of a solution.
Yeah,
Whatever it is we come up with, I think it's better than what's going on now.
I think that we should, as a board, look at it
Yeah,
and actually come up with a plan on how we can do one side and stagger the one side, the one side only to accommodate the areas of Tate. Some areas of Tate where the curb cuts are, it's going to be kind of
Mhm.
difficult to just have, one side of the street parking. And we really need to look at it. And I think one side of the street is perfect, and there may be room to move lines a little bit. We have to look into that. But one side of the street, and I know Eileen has brought it up in the meetings, how, there's been parties and they park on both sides, even down by where I am, closer to
Mhm.
Kings Ferry, where
Mhm.
Wilt is as well. When you're parked on both sides of the street, you can't get through.
no, you can't.
So, if we limit it to one side of the street parking and we do a little research on the curb cuts and everything and lay it out the way we want it, then I think it'll work.
Yeah, I just,
agree.
I just want the discussion to be had and I'm sure we'll come up with a solution. But I'm just glad we're able to have the discussion and let's, put our heads together and we'll come up with a solution.
It's a good point, Dan.
Yeah.
a
That's
good
all.
point.
So
And-
the board want me to sit down with George and maybe look at Google Earth? We can actually do,
Yeah, we
being on
need to
one
see what
side.
the width is
Yeah.
and if we can get that lane in and still have enough
And-
parking. for-
And I guess
Yeah.
get Shane involved if we have
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
no
You know,
problem.
I just don't want somebody getting injured.
Okay,
That's my biggest
So,
concern.
none of us, none
Yeah.
of us do.
And, right, and,
Yeah.
and I think I speak for the entire board on that, so.
And Lake
Well-
Drive, I know when they park there, that's a little dicey at
Yeah,
times,
because you
like
got
just
the-
before
because
Lake
you got the
Drive.
corner.
They
You-
have,
you're
yeah,
going around
when
that
you're doing
turn.
that little turn and yeah, it gets a
So-
little hard to see. Anthony, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, and it also accommodates the walkers in the area, because when we have parking on both sides, it throws them out into traffic.
It does.
I
It
agree.
does.
So it would give them the lane to use where there is no parking, so they can also follow the rules as well.
I agree.
I know going back, Nick had wanted that walking lane and it was a good idea, but there's just, not enough room to do that plus the road. So, because there's more and more people walking. I see a lot of people on Henry Street now.
Yeah.
So, all right,
People like
that's
to walk
something
Buchanan, they just
We,
do.
I'll try to get you
Definitely
a
speak
I'll try
to
to get you a
George.
diagram for the next
yes,
meeting.
please, yes,
Okay.
that would be good. So we can get that going. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, no, of course, we want everyone to be safe here. Okay, so, I just have a few things. Stephanie, do you have anything for us this evening?
Just a couple of updates. Cell tower, Homeland will have the revised lease, because we had gone back with a couple of ideas by the end of this month.
Oh,
That's the
good.
promise.
All right.
John Doe's back in the business.
Oh, no.
So the attorney has filed a motion for permission to go to the Court of Appeals. Yeah.
Mm.
So I'm just letting you know, obviously, council has put in a really good motion trying to dissuade a judge from allowing that, but it hasn't been heard yet. So we thought it was done and they had certain time. So they want to go to the Court of Appeal. I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh. Anyway, I don't think it'll be granted. I can't tell you if it will, but that's
No, you
just
never know.
two things. So cell tower lease should be in at the end of the month, and John Doe, they had 30 days, so I'll give you an update when I have one.
All right, good, perfect.
That's
Thank
all I
you.
have.
All right, good. Marcus, what do you have for us tonight?
Couple updates for the public and for the board. We received some information. I don't know if people know we have a drought warning going on through this area. Just ask people to be conserve as much water as possible. We've notified the big water users in the village to try to conserve water as much as possible as well. So we're at 59%. We should be at 81% at this time of the year. So please conserve as much as possible. The 4th Street pump station gate, the contractors met there today. They're gonna probably be done by next week.
Good.
That includes also 60 feet of the fencing to the right of the gate.
Mhm.
That should be hopefully done by the end of next week. The parking lot across from Fat Sal is complete. We
Looks
also
good.
put a new light there to make it brighter.
I saw Con Ed there, by the pole a couple of days ago.
The energizing
That-
light.
Okay, good.
We put a
Oh,
new
good.
light there.
Perfect. Yeah, that's
It
kind
was,
of
kind
a
of dark.
dark intersection. It's not, yeah, it's
Yeah, so-
dangerous there.
So if you
Right
drive by
on
it now,
the street.
it should be a lot lighter.
Good.
The good news, the wastewater treatment plant, our inspection with the county and the state are going very well. We just had another inspection from the county, passed with flying colors.
Good.
The plant, there's no fumes coming out of the plant. There's no smell. The reports are done properly. So the report's been very good. Also, our flow has been so low. We've been
Because of the
less
drought.
than 250,000
Wow.
gallons.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're not having those,
No
The rain,
yeah,
yep.
those substantial rainstorms and
Yep.
all the other stuff, the runoff.
But it's interesting. We had that 1 inch of rain the other day, and we actually compared that. We had that 1 inch of rain that came in at like an inch and a half of rain. The flows that came in after that was also very low, which means that the pipelining that the board approved has been making a big difference. So we've been at less than 250 gallons now for about 5 months. So that's very good. We're running one tank since for 5 months now. That's great. It also reduces the chemicals we need to purchase. So the good news is we're moving forward on that. And
It's operating well.
I think we're almost done with all the pipelining. There was a big one underneath the Carbone property. The pipe underneath Carbone, which is our main, had a big leak in it, and the water from the ground was coming into that. So that's been corrected. That was the good news. I provided the board with some information from Nikon regarding public facilities. They use the public facilities just for your information. So that way you could take a look at that at your leisure. After I think a couple meetings ago, we talked about the leaves, the back leaves that we've been dumping behind the baseball field. After conversation about trying to work with our partners. So I reached out to the village manager in the village of Croton. He's agreed to take our leaves.
Good. He's a good guy. I like him. He's a good
And,
guy.
and he's going to charge, he needs to charge the same as the county charges, which is like,
That's fine.
it's like, 20-something dollars.
$20
That's
a
fine.
truckload, right?
Yeah, so it's like $2,500 or something for the year. So it's going to be save us it'll save us having to dump behind the baseball field, our trucks falling down into leaves, and they can use them to recycling. That's a good news.
That's filling up over there too.
Correct. So
That's-
we
we've
don't have
done
to-
that for years.
So I won't have to dump there anymore.
Mm.
Talk about line painting. I sent the board an email too, just trying to
That's
think outside the box.
Yeah.
I think that's a
Talked
good idea.
to Scott about this double line painter to paint the yellow lines ourselves.
Mhm.
What I like about that is that we can do it whenever we want to. We don't have to worry about a contractor. We don't have to go out to
Have to
bid.
deal with the town. we don't
You have to deal with the town, wait for the bids to do it and stuff like that.
It's not an expensive piece of equipment.
Correct.
After
That's-
one.
And
Yeah.
when 1 or 2 years, it pays for itself and we
Yep.
can use it anytime. We also paint the parking lots and the double yellow lines and everything else. So
I agree.
want to see if there's any issues with the board. If not, I want to move forward to get that out of the way. The DPW crew is very happy to take that on and do the work ourselves.
I
Well,
think
they
it's
do a
good.
lot of the painting anyhow.
They
out
do
of
all the white-
circle,
yeah.
They do all, you know.
Yep. It's just
This
a
will make
Top
their,
art
this will
and
make their
stuff,
life
so,
easier.
yeah,
I think
good.
that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, the one I'm
Good.
looking at actually is a little bit more expensive, $2,500 more. Actually, I didn't
It's under 20.
yeah, it has a laser level on it, so I actually can create a laser for you to make sure. Because I was concerned, you're walking behind or driving behind the car, but this has a laser. So I Googled their equipment and I saw there was an option with the laser for
Okay.
$2,500 more. So that will be a
Well
more
worth it.
efficient. Also, we have a straight line.
Yep.
So
Mhm. And
Those
no
are good.
picket Lines.
So if we do the streets we're talking about, we'll be able to do it ourselves whenever the board wants to do it, so which is good news. The pool, I gave the board, it was back in November 18th or something, I sent an email to the board. Our consultant gave some options regarding the pool.
Yeah.
Just needs to know is for him to go forward with the county Department of Health, he needs to know, do you want any features or do you just want the pool? Does he need to meet with anybody else? What does board's pleasure to move forward on?
The first one I loved. I absolutely thought was beautiful, but we need to look at money too. So, I mean, we can get.
Which one are you talking about? Just a,
It was the first one underneath and it had the little mushrooms.
Oh,
that
yeah.
Went into the pool, but I don't think we have the property to,
It was one
I
of,
don't
one of
think.
his projects cost $4.3 million.
that might be a little much.
that's the one with that big, with all the other features on it, yes. But the one,
Beautiful, but-
but as an add alternate, if we want to do it, you have to bid it out. If you want one, there was one with a little mushroom And there was one like a little like a little dragon thing that shoots water out, for example, one feature. So each feature is a cost related to it, and also engineering that goes along with it. So I just need to know from the board if you want to go just with the flat pool or feature and which feature you want. But then he has to provide that to the department. He'll have to do engineering, the filtering system, give it to the Department of Health. After the department gives the comments back, then he could do a scope of work and go out to bid.
So could he give an
Okay.
estimate on what it would be if it's just a flat pool or with one of the features?
Oh, yeah, he can tell you what the estimate, which feature you want.
To see an
I
estimate.
just need to know what's feature, because each feature has a substantial different cost. to
Yeah,
the
and
feature.
I thought we were going to involve the rec committee on this as well.
If you want, absolutely, we can do whatever the
Because
board
they
wants to
didn't
do.
think we were discussing it tonight, so that's why a few of them didn't come in. So we can, if you want, we
That's
can
fine.
at the
Yeah.
next Tuesday meeting.
Yeah, so
we
the
can,
mushroom you're talking about,
invite
or they
them
had
in.
this one, they have little spray on top.
Yeah.
So this is a lot less expensive than the mushroom.
So
Right.
that's why I'm asking. So how
Yeah.
much would that be more or less?
Okay.
How much would it be with one mushroom? I mean,
Yeah.
for me, I need to know
It-
what
Yep.
the dollars and cents looks like.
Yeah,
I
that-
think 4 million is,
But 4.3
little
million
pricey.
is out of the question.
So the 4 million was
I
the
would
real-
agree,
I think
and
that was the
and I
project we
think,
did in Monroe.
Yeah, that's a real big one.
Yeah.
It was like a beach area. It was
But I'm sure
humongous.
that just that wouldn't be cheap either.
Right,
no.
correct.
This is
No.
what we need to know.
Everything.
Tell us
Right.
to show me the money.
All right.
Because we need to see it.
So I'll tell them to give us the price with
Price.
just the pool by itself and either one of those two features. Okay.
Yeah.
So that definitely, if we could do that, and then if you want, like Dan said, more Recreation Commission, we can set up a Zoom call, talk about it, and however the board, give me direction, we'll
You know
do it.
what, we could do it at a regular meeting, let everyone see what, you
Okay.
know, what's going on and what it looks like, and maybe somebody else, other people have suggestions too. But
Okay,
I know the Recreation Committee was very interested in that.
all right. So I'll ask him, he's available for the December 3rd meeting, or do you want to do it at the workshop? Okay.
Yeah. We could do December 3rd. I don't
He,
think we have much.
yeah, he was going away on vacation. I gotta see if he's back by then.
Okay.
Okay, that's good. At last meeting, we had a resident from Westchester Avenue wanted a light in front of his house, so a light pole. So just to let you know, we had the light, but we need an arm. So the arm's been ordered. And we'll put a light around his house that he said was dark. But I also had the cop drive down Westchester Avenue. He said the rest of the area looks fine, but he wanted a light. So I didn't put it up yet unless the board has an issue with, or we want to put the light up.
It's dark in that, is it dark in that area? I'm
Not
not
according-
sure who
not
it
acco-
is.
not
not
according
according
to
to
Not
the
according to
police.
So that's up to the board.
Right.
Is it on a curve? I'm not sure. I'm thinking
It was
maybe who it
one-
is.
Remember the address now. What was 135, 125?
What's the cost? What's the cost involved?
We have the light. Well, it's cost for the electricity, but it's when you gotta put, it's kind of that simple.
Right, I
And we gotta
understand.
buy the arm. The arm is a
And,
couple hundred
and
dollars.
the installation, is it something our highway department can install, or is it?
Yeah,
something-
we installed it, but then kind of energizes it at no cost, but then there's a cost for the electricity. I think it was 125, 135 Westchester. 223 Westchester. There you go. See? It was 223 Westchester. So we're ready to go, but before we put another light and energize it, I want to make sure the board didn't have an issue with it. He brought it up at the last meeting, so I want to give you an option. We're ready to go if the board wants to move forward. If you want to drive by, let me know, but I had the police drive by and they said. they
I
didn't see
saw
an
the,
issue.
I saw the email, yeah.
Yeah, so,
And they went over by Day Rose too, because that
Yes,
seems very dark coming
there
out
was-
of Rockledge.
there was a light,
There was a light
listen,
out.
there was a light that was
Okay.
out that's been
I
energized. She's
thought it was
drive by.
really dark.
There was a light that was moved. So Teresa, next time you want to drive by, maybe tonight or whatever, let me know let me know if there's an issue with that. And then I have to we can look at that again.
Okay.
So you're saying that's been resolved?
Yes,
Good.
that's correct. Yes. Now also we had another resident in one of the meetings before at 3 Donahue Court complaining about the light reflecting into her property. So Scott found a reflector that's going to reflect the lights in different directions. We'll have that installed. Let's came out of the meeting. We'll let you guys know we're going to get that resolved as well. And then we talked over about the battery storage meeting. So that's
Yeah,
an interesting little thing.
We
but-
talked just before the
Yeah.
meeting. There was the Westchester County sponsored something about the battery storage. Last Friday, I was there, Marcus was there, and our building inspector was there, and
Kieran Outhouse was there.
and Kieran Outhouse, and Stu Bayer from the Buchanan Fire Department, and we were just interested what they had to say about battery storage. It showed different places where they have the battery storage in White Plains, by buildings, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know, to me, I hate to say this, but I think it was a sales, for, battery storage,
Absolutely.
saying that everything is wonderful, 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 and there's still fires. So, yeah, you know, the technology, this, that, they just went on, and I knew before we went, it was going to be something to, promote, battery storage
Mhm.
because the renewables and everything like that. And one of the things I found interesting was in people's houses, they're having that actually inside their house. People that have solar panels.
I
So,
have solar panels.
yeah, so, I guess people are now installing battery storage so that they can store that
To harvest
energy.
it in case there's an outage. Okay, I got you.
So there's, you know, it was kind of an eye opener how much battery storage there is out there. Not on the scale that these other people wanted to do, but it's kind of all over. And the other thing is, I'm not sure where I heard it, but Con Edison at one point is
Yes.
talking about putting battery storage on top of the poles.
Correct.
So it's all over. It's coming all over now.
Not even so much on top of the poles, right? It's-
On the side.
it's-
On the pole itself?
Yeah,
Like
that's what I
the
Thought
heard.
it was gonna
Verizon
be up.
boxes that you see through the size of the refrigerator.
Yeah,
That's attractive.
yeah. So, yeah, more excitement on the polls. Mentioning the polls also, I have not had a further update from the Public Service Commission. So hopefully by next week, you know, I'll have some more information. Do you have any more information from Con Edison? With-
It's always the hands of Verizon right now.
Okay.
And I keep on hearing. Verizon keeps us saying they're working on it. I haven't had an
They're
update.
not.
Con Edison is done.
It's gonna cost
Oh,
them
they
money,
have-
so they're not working
Yes.
on it.
Con
Okay.
Edison is done. They're telling me they're done. It's Verizon. And Verizon is waiting, supposedly waiting for, one of the other
Oh, the best.
Contractors.
Well, I still call it Best Web.
yeah, I forgot the new name. To
But
move
you
some
know
of their
what?
lines.
I do want to give credit to Paul Perch. He did tell me he went out there, he put his hard hat on, he put his vest on, he walked the whole length, saw each pole, knows everything about each pole. So, you know, very grateful. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah,
because
thank
it-
you,
He goes
Paul.
over the
Been-
Montrose?
Yeah, he went like up to the high school
Oh,
and
he did.
stuff. Yeah.
It goes
you know,
past, goes
just-
past that.
Yeah, no, yeah. They're all over. If
Yeah.
you go up, going up on 9,
They're all
you see
over
the half
Peekskill.
poles.
Yeah,
it's
You,
just-
you gotta see Mamaroneck. It's,
Yeah,
It's unbelievable.
but it costs money, so they're not
Yes.
rushing to do it.
well,
And
yeah.
their assessment goes
yeah,
up too.
right, and then they gotta pay, they have to pay rent to Con Ed for the pole.
That's right.
So that's,
So
therein
it's all a
lies the
money
issue.
thing?
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's
There's
money.
always money involved.
Money again.
So to put it under the ground.
Yeah.
In
Mhm.
Mamaroneck, they did Mamaroneck Avenue under the ground and it took forever to do and that was it. They went no further than Mamaroneck Avenue.
Yeah, they say it's very expensive.
Yeah.
Out of the circle, when they did that, gosh, what is that, 30 years ago?
I did it in Portchester a few years ago. It was $1 million for 1.5 blocks.
Yes,
$1 million.
yeah.
That was 15, 20 years ago.
It's some crazy prices, I know.
So Mayor and the board, I just have a couple items in executive session when we get there.
Yep.
But that's all the information I have tonight. Thank
Okay,
you.
good. So I just want to remind everybody, the tree lighting is this Sunday, December 1st at 6 o'clock. Hopefully we have better weather this year, but whatever weather we have, it's great getting the community together and lighting up our tree.
Agreed.
The other thing is I ran into and spoke to Senator Harkam, and this is something I think we need to look at. I am going to meet with him, I think, next week. There is a grant called the Mid-Hudson Grant, a Mid-Hudson Fund, and it has to do with housing, but it doesn't have to do with affordable housing. But since the housing is coming here, we might be able to get some funding through that. So we'll have a conversation about that. The other thing is we tried the flags for Veterans Day. Unfortunately, it was windy, but we're going to relook at a better way to do that. I know there was a discussion about putting like the post in the ground, and leaving them there. But the highway foreman thought that they would get filled in quickly with dirt and grass and things like that. And then we, wouldn't be able to use it again. So there's been some conversations on what to do with that. But we'll be working on that and what that whole flag program is going to be for the veterans. We talked about it before about getting plaques that the family members could buy. And when we put the flags out, we could also put the plaques out for our veterans. What else do I have? All right, we have a lot more to discuss. And I just want to wish everyone a very happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your time with your family and your friends. Thanksgiving is a beautiful celebration to get together and just appreciate and be thankful for everything that we have. Dan, what do you have for us?
Just a couple of things. I just want to acknowledge the passing of longtime resident John Tangent. Diane's very involved in the community with the beautification committee. John was heavily involved in the fire department for many, many years, and our condolences go out to the Tangent family.
And we could remind to have a moment of silence.
Yeah,
for
so-
longtime resident.
Yeah, that would be great if we could acknowledge John with a moment of silence on Tuesday. That would be great. Had the pleasure of attending the Veterans Day event with Mayor Knickerbocker at the town of Cortland. It was quite a turnout. Teresa gave a nice speech, as well as some of the other dignitaries, and it means so much to the vets. It really does. So it was nice to see such a great turnout. And then my other thing is to reiterate what Marcus was saying in relation to the drought. Please be smart. No chimneys, no fire pits. I know it's tempting. It's a holiday weekend. We are not out of the woods on this by any means. So please just be cognizant of that, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody. That's all I have.
Just thinking, if Entergy was operational, remember the amount of water they used, a ton of
yes.
water, and with this drought now. And then Dan, also, yes, with Veterans Day, I forgot to mention December 7th is Pearl Harbor Day. And it will be from 10:30 to 12:30. The city of Peekskill will be sponsoring this year of Pearl Harbor. And Sharon, you have that in our newsletter, correct?
There's
Okay, good. Thank
so
you.
they're having a ceremony,
Yes.
12/7. Do we know the time?
10:30 to 12:30. Sharon's
Peekskill
got the
Senior Center?
details.
Which is Peekskill Senior Center.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, it's twisted there.
I was picking up, thank you.
Okay. Well, Wilda, what do you have for us?
I simply want to wish everyone a happy and safe Thanksgiving. Spend time with your family, put work to the side, and have a great time.
No, I know. Day to eat. Bob?
I would just like to follow up by saying the same thing everyone else has said. Have a happy and healthy Thanksgiving.
All right, thanks, Bob. Anthony?
I'm here. Hold on.
He's hanging.
Here. Yeah, I have nothing else to say. Just to wish the residents of Buchanan and whoever else is listening, watching, a very happy Thanksgiving, and enjoy. It's one of my favorite holidays, so enjoy the food, the drinks, and your family.
All right, thank you. Any comments from the floor? Eileen?
This goes to Dan.
Yep.
A while back, and I don't remember when, but when the new family moved into Van Tassel's on the curve past Lake Drive,
Okay.
we had an issue with both sides of parking. And if I'm not mistaken, chief of police either made an announcement or went to the home and said, you have to park on one side. And that's so the people that were on the opposite side, I don't know if there's a way of just putting, parking on this side of the street, something of that
Yeah,
nature.
we're gonna have to have that discussion because it's a safety issue. So.
I know.
Yep.
But the van could be in the right direction
Mhm.
and, not impact. Because once that other car that SUV parked going towards Kings Ferry, that's when everything got haywire. And it was just one car. But the traffic got stopped. You had to wait. But the chief of police did say something to the family because they were having gatherings. And, you know, we promoted that family and then they started parking on the one side of the street. So it worked out fine.
I'm sure we'll find a solution. So, but I appreciate your input
Okay.
and yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
this was
figure it
quite a
out.
while ago,
Yep.
like 2 summers ago.
Yeah, I remember when
2 or
that,
3
yeah, when
summers.
that
Yeah.
occurred.
So anyway, have a good Thanksgiving.
Yes.
as well.
Eileen, you
Thanks,
too, and your
Eileen.
Family. You know what? And I'm just seeing all these signs popping up, the no parking, but maybe, talk to George. Maybe we could just stripe the road with white, whatever, just so people
Yeah.
understand,
Because the signs, nobody wants them on their property. I
No, of
get it,
course
you know,
not.
but
It'll look
like I
ugly.
said, let's put our heads together.
Yes,
That's all.
yeah,
We'll come to a meeting of the minds and
yes,
we'll figure it out.
work it out. Okay.
There you go. You got
You
plenty of
could
room there,
do-
Eileen. A lot of room.
You'd make a bundle.
We'll send the highway department over with the new striper when it comes in.
Always an entrepreneur. Good. Okay, Marcus, we're going into executive session to discuss
Personnel?
personnel?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, if there are no other comments, I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel issues. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for coming,
Thank
everyone.
you,
Happy
everyone.
Thanksgiving again.
Enjoy yourselves.